look at generating random integers in C. So we're going to need two libraries to generate a random integer. The first one is going to be the standard library, and the second one is going to be the time library. Now you might be confused as to why we need the time library to generate a random integer, but that really boils down to how C generates its random numbers. The C random number generator uses the current time in conjunction with an algorithm to create its series of random integers. It needs the time so that it can be different every time you run it. So the first thing we have to do is initialize that random number generator with the current time. We do that with the srand function, and the srand function takes an unsigned integer, and we're just going to give it the current time in seconds. And that's all we have to do. That means that every time we run this program, it will have different random numbers for us. Now we can get to actually creating and printing out the random number. So we'll create a printf statement. It's going to print an integer. And let's just give it the random, the output of random. Random is a function that returns a random integer. It's usually pretty large. So let's create a for loop to print about 10 of these. Alright, so now we've looped this 10 times. We're going to compile it, run it, and we should get 10 random integers. So here are 10 random integers. Now they're pretty large and not very helpful to us because normally for a lot of applications we'll be using things like we need to generate a random number between 0 and 4. But we don't really have any 0 to 4 integers in here, and it would be really hard to get one from that. So we can create a method to do that for us, and this is going to use the modulo operator. So if you don't remember what modulo does, it simply gives us the remainder of an integer division. So if we take this large integer that we've created with the random number generator and divide it by 5, let's think about the possibilities that that can return us. So any large integer divided by 5 can give us 5 possible remainders: 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are the numbers that it could possibly generate, and so now our number generator, once we compile it, is going to give us a series of random integers between 0 and 4. There we go. But let's say we want a different range. Say we want between 2 and 6. How do we get that? So to accomplish that, let's go ahead and define the lower and upper bounds. So our lower bound is going to be 2, and our upper bound is going to be 6. Now, both of these bounds are inclusive to the range. So we're going to start with saying the lower bound plus the random function modulo upper minus lower plus 1. And this upper minus lower plus 1, this is essentially the range of random numbers that it can generate. And this lower here sets its position so that it will never generate a number lower than the lowest number we've specified. So let's run that again. And there we go. And all of our numbers are between 2 and 6. It's inclusive. If we run that again, we'll see, there we go, there's a 2 in there. So that's a simple way to produce random integers using C with upper and lower bounds.